two couples, husbands and wives, are ready to have some fun, answer some questions, match for some great prizes, while learning if it's a match made in heaven or not. Let's play Holy Matrimony. Here's your host, Buzz Berry.
Hi, and welcome to Holy Matrimony. I am your host, Buzz, and we have two couples that are ready to compete for some great local prizes, and they're also hoping to make a trip to the honeymoon round, where they have the opportunity to win a 3-day, 2-night stay to Best Western Ocean Sands Beach Resort in North Myrtle Beach. We have a great studio audience out here at the Comedy Cabana. We would love for you to join us some Thursday at 6. We're going to have some fun, aren't we? What do you say we meet our couples for tonight and see who's competing for some great local prizes and that trip to the honeymoon round? And our first couple comes to us from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. They've been married for 5 months. He's retired, and she's also retired. He was working in retail, and she was a former substitute teacher. Now, they're the parents of 3 and the grandparent of 1. Together, they enjoy playing golf and also taking cruises. Everybody, will you please welcome to Holy Matrimony. This is George and Sandy Whitcomb. George and Sandy, I understand you guys met while having some fun?
Playing golf.
Playing some golf. Was he any good?
I don't remember.
You know, was it love at first sight?
No. I thought the person she was playing golf with was her boyfriend.
Oh, did you? All right. So yelling out 4, I guess it meant forever, huh? For the two of you? All right. Thank you two for being here. It's time for us to find out who's standing between the two of you and your trip to the honeymoon round. And it happens to be our couple number 2. And they come to us from Fallsington, Pennsylvania. They've been married for 35 years. He's a zoning officer, and she's a quality assurance person with IT systems. Now, they're the parent of 3 and the grandparent of 2. Together, they enjoy spending time on the beach. Everybody, please welcome Tom and Ginny Bennett. Now, as we were getting to know the two of you, you actually met in a dusty, dirty kind of environment. How did you meet there, Tom?
On a softball field. I was the coach.
You were the coach.
She was a pitcher.
So was he giving you some coaching on this pitching, or?
Probably not really. I kind of knew what I was doing.
Oh, you did? Okay. You didn't need his coaching, huh?
No.
All right. Well, thank you both for being here. It's time for us to get things started playing our game of Holy Matrimony, where we find out if it's a match made in heaven or not. We're going to send the husbands back to the honey hideaway, and then we're going to be asking the wives some questions. So, husbands, if you'll give your wives a little kiss and head on back to the honey hideaway, and we'll see the two of you in just a little bit. Now, as the husbands are heading off that way, I want you guys to know, and you two to know, that you're going to be competing for some great prizes. We have a $25 dining certificate from Castaway Beach Bar and Grill. How about breakfast buffet from Mammy's Kitchen? A $25 dining certificate to Dirty Don's Oyster Bar and Grill. A buffet for 2 to the Original Benjamin Seafood Buffet. $25 dining certificate to Bimini's Oyster Bar and Seafood Cafe. Admission for 2 to Status Nightlife. How about a flight for 2 from Helicopter Adventures? And we'll bring you right back here to Comedy Cabana. We got some great prizes up for grabs. And to get to the prizes, we've got to make some matches. So what do you say we get started with our very first question? Wives, after an argument between the two of you, you and your husband, which one of the two of you usually apologizes first? If you'll put your answer down, we'll move on to our next question, which is worth 20 points. Question number 2. Wives, choosing from these explosive terms, how would you describe your husband's sex appeal? Firecracker, dynamite, atom bomb, or dud? Again, your choices are dynamite, dud, Firecracker or atom bomb? How would you describe your husband's sex appeal? Moving on to our 30-point question. Will your husband say that you are usually right on time, arriving early, running late, or making excuses? Are you arriving early, making excuses, right on time, or running late? What will your husband say that you usually are? Moving on to our fourth and final question for the wives, and this is our wager question. Now, this is where the husbands will be able to wager some of the points that have been earned along the way, and they can wager up to half, a minimum of 10 points based on this particular question. Wives, what would you say that he'll say is one of his biggest pet peeves while driving? What would you say that he'll say is one of his biggest pet peeves while driving? All right, Sandy and Ginny are writing their answers down. We are going to bring the husbands back in just a little bit to see if we can make a match right here at Holy Matrimony. Welcome back to Holy Matrimony. We have the husbands now joining the wives as we are going to do our best to make a match with these four questions. We have incremental points of 10, 20, 30, and then the fourth one, husbands, is going to be a wager. When we ask you that fourth one, we're going to see how well you think you know the answer, and you can wager up to half the amount of points that you've earned at that particular time. Now, if you do not get the answer correct, then those points are heading on over to your competition. Huh? You like that, do you? All right, Sandy. Well, George, let's get started with our very first question. And we're going to ask you, George, to kick things off. After an argument between the two of you, which one of the two of you usually apologizes first?
She does.
She does. All right, Sandy, what's your answer? And it is me, worth 10 points for you. Way to go. All right, let's look to Tom and Ginny. I'll ask you the same question. Which one of the two of you usually apologizes first? What do you think, Tom?
I do.
It's you. All right, Ginny, what did you say? Tom apologizes first, worth 10 points. Let's move on to our question number 2, which is worth 20 points. Wives, choosing from one of these explosive terms, how would you describe your husband's sex appeal? Here are the choices for you, George and Tom. It's firecracker, it's atom bomb, it's dud, or dynamite. George, what do you think?
Dud.
Dud for you. Let's see what Sandy wrote. It's a dud. That's worth 20 points. You guys are now at 130. Let's move on over here to Tom and Ginny. You heard the question. If you got firecracker, dud, dynamite, or atom bomb, Tom, what do you think?
Firecracker?
Firecracker. Let's see if Ginny agrees. It is a atom bomb. That 20 points is coming right over here to couple number 1. You guys are now at 150. You guys are accumulating points that you can use as a wager in just a bit. We're moving now to our question number 3, worth 30 points. And here's the questions for you, husbands. We asked the wives, will your husband say that you are usually right on time, arriving early, running late, or making excuses? George, what do you think?
Running late.
Running late. Let's see if that's correct. It is correct for 30 points. Running late. You're now at 180. Tom and Ginny, arriving early, making excuses, running late, or right on time. What do you think, Tom?
Running late.
Running late. Let's see if Ginny agrees. And it is making excuses. That 30 points is coming right over to a couple number 1. You guys are at 210. Now here's an opportunity for you, Tom and Ginny, to come back. We have our wager question. Now, husbands, we're going to ask you to grab your wager palette, which is down there on the bottom. Wives, go ahead and get your answer palette for question number 4 ready to go. Now, husbands, here's the question. Then we're going to ask you to write down your wager. Now, I want to let you know that you're at 110 right now, Tom and Ginny. You're at 210, George and Sandy. Here's the question. We asked the wives, what would you say that he'll say is one of his biggest pet peeves while driving? Now, write down what you think that you'd like to wager. I'm not looking for an answer. You've got 110. Tom, George, you've got 210. George, what's one of your biggest pet peeves while driving?
Driver controls the radio.
The driver controls the radio. All right, so you are in control of the radio. Nobody else in the car. All right, let's see if Sandy agrees. Slow drivers are actually your pet peeve.
Yeah, he's always complaining of people under the speed limit.
Is that true, George?
Yeah.
As long as they're not touching the radio.
Don't do it.
All right. Well, George, how much did you wager? 75 points. So that 75 is coming off of the 210 right now. Tom and Ginny, as far as his biggest pet peeve while driving, Tom, what would it be?
People not using their turn signals.
So no turn signals. What did you think it was, Ginny?
I should be married.
Driving slow in the left lane. All right. Well, what did you wager there, Tom? 55. So you went right down the middle with half of your points. Of course, that gets you now to 55 points. Now, we're looking at 135 to 55. Now, keep in mind, we have 4 more questions. We're going to be dismissing the wives here in just a little bit, back to the honey hideaway, and then we'll put the husbands under the gun and see if they can make a match right here at Holy Matrimony. Welcome back to Holy Matrimony. We've dismissed the wives back to the honey hideaway, and the husbands are on their own right now. We're ready to get you two in some trouble, some hot water. We'll see if you can make a match with these questions. Once again, they are incremental. We'll start with a 10-point question, got a 20 and 30, and then the fourth question will be a wager question. She'll be able to wager all of your points, all right? So let's earn some points between the two of you. And here's our first question worth 10 points. Husbands, when it's your turn to replace the empty toilet paper roll in the bathroom, which is correct, over or under? Moving on to our second question worth 20 points. When your wife inevitably gets upset with you, which of these weather conditions would you use to best describe how you're treated? Foggy. Things get a bit confusing for you. Cold front, if you know what I'm talking about, things get a bit chilly. Lightning storm, you got to watch out for the strike. Or hurricane, there's a lot of hot air blowing around. So your choices again are lightning storm, hurricane, cold front, or foggy. How are you treated when you're in trouble and your wife is upset with you? Moving on to our question number 3. And this one, fellas, is worth 30 points as you're trying your best to accumulate some points. When it comes to anniversary gifts, which of the following would she most prefer? Roses, chocolates, jewelry, or a gift card? I've got another option for you, a good attorney, if you want to write that down. All right, let's move on to our fourth question. And this is going to be the wager question. The wives will determine how well they think they know this answer according to what you write down right now. Husbands, what's one thing that she would say that you do that gets on her nerves? What's one thing that she would say that you do that gets on her nerves? Tom's thinking absolutely nothing. I'm an angel. But although George had no problem with this one, I see. All right, those are our 4 questions. We are going to bring the wives back from our honey hideaway. We'll find out if we can make a match. And when we wrap this up, after this set of questions, one of the 2 couples is going to win that trip to the honeymoon round. We'll be right back with Holy Matrimony. Welcome back to Holy Matrimony. We are having some fun right now with George and Sandy and Tom and Ginny. Looking at the scores, it's 135 to 55 right now. Tom and Ginny, you have an opportunity right now to really catch up. George and Sandy, you guys need to hang on to your points. Now, Guys, we're going to try our best not to get you in trouble with these questions, but let's get things started. Here's our first one, worth 10 points. We asked the husbands, wives, when it's your turn to replace the empty toilet paper roll in your bathroom, which is correct? Is it over or is it under? We'll start with Sandy. Is it over or is it under?
Well, since he just did it yesterday, I'm going to go with under.
Under. Let's see if George says he says it's over.
You blew it.
Well, that 10 points is heading right on over to Tom and Ginny. You guys are now at 65. So Tom and Ginny, let's find out if it's over or if it's under. So what do you say?
Definitely over.
Over, and Tom says it's over. That's 10 points. You guys are now at 75 to 135. Moving on to our 20-point question. We asked the husbands, when your wife is inevitably upset with you, which of these weather conditions would you use to best describe how you're treated? Here's your choices: foggy, cold front, a hurricane, or a lightning storm. Let's ask Sandy. What do you think George wrote?
I think he wrote cold front.
Cold front. Let's see if that's a match. And it was foggy. As in a bit confused. All
I
right.
did so much better than him.
All right. Well, we're going to be watching you right now to see how he's being treated. We'll see. All right. Well, those points have made their way over to Tom and Ginny. We'll see if you can get an additional 20 points if this is correct. So, Ginny, what do you think the answer is?
Cold front.
Cold front, and Tom said it is a cold front worth 20 points. You guys are now at 115, and we're moving on to our 30-point question. We asked the husbands, when it comes to anniversary gifts, which of the following would she most prefer? The choices are roses, chocolates, a gift card, or jewelry. Sandy, what do you think?
I'm going to go with jewelry because we just did something nice on the cruise.
All right, let's see what George says. And it's jewelry. Right, 30 points. You're now at 165. It's Tom and Ginny. The choices again: chocolate, roses, gift card, or jewelry. Ginny, what do you think?
Jewelry.
Jewelry, and the answer that Tom wrote was jewelry. An additional 30 points is coming your way. We're now looking at 145 to 165. It's close, and it's coming down to our final question, our question number 4. And this is a wager. So, wives, we're going to ask you to pull that wager pallet out, the one at the bottom. Get ready to write your wager after you hear this question. You can determine how well you think you know the answer by wagering all of your points, but a minimum of 10. Here's the question, wives. We asked the husbands, what's one thing that she would say that you do that gets on her nerves? The question again for you to wager on. We asked the husbands, what's one thing that she would say that you do that gets on her nerves? You're at 165. Sandy and Ginny, you guys are at 145. Write your wager down. We'll start with Sandy. What's the one thing that you would say that he does that gets on your nerves?
How much time do you have?
Well, we do have a marriage counselor in the audience waiting to talk to the two of you.
I'm going to say he leaves his stuff, clothes and trash everywhere.
All right, so he's kind of messy.
He's kind of messy.
All right, so what do you think, George?
No.
Bathroom.
The ball! Let's just say he has bad aim.
Yeah.
Is that true, Sandy?
Yeah.
He does have bad
I
aim.
was trying to be nice.
I was trying to win.
Well, Sandy, how much did you wager? 100 points. So you guys are now at 65. You're still in there. We'll see what they wagered on this particular question. Once again, we are looking to Tom and Ginny, and we're looking to find out what's the one thing that he does that gets on your nerves, Ginny?
He's anal about everything.
All right, so he's anal about everything, and Tom says He drives too fast. All right. It sounds like he's anal about driving too fast. All right. Well, it's time for us to find out, Jenny. How much did you wager of your 145 points? 20 points. You are at 125, and that means you have the most points, and the two of you, Tom and Ginny, are heading to our honeymoon round. You've also won quite a list of prizes. The two of you have the Castaway Beach Bar and Grill. You have the breakfast buffet to Mammy's Kitchen. Dirty Don's Oyster Bar and Grill, a $25 dining certificate there. Buffet for two to Original Benjamin Seafood Buffet, a $25 dining certificate. To Biminy's Oyster Bar and Seafood Cafe, admission to two. To Status Nightlife, you're also going to take a romantic flight from Helicopter Adventures, and we're going to ask you to come back here to Comedy Cabana with two cookies. How about one more big round of applause for the cookies for Tom and Ginny? Now, George, this is an opportunity for you to take a bathroom break. Just make sure you watch your aim. I want to thank you two for being a part of it. We're going to ask you to be, don't go too far. We do have a nice prize for the two of you. And thank you so much for letting us get to know you with Holy Matrimony. We'll see you both here in just a little bit. We want to see you when you come back as we all make this trip to the honeymoon round next on Holy Matrimony. Welcome back to Holy Matrimony. It's time for us to go to the honeymoon round. We have separated Tom and Ginny right now, but we're going to try to put you back together and send you on to a honeymoon, and that's to the Best Western Ocean Sands Beach Resort for a 3-day, 2-night stay. It's going to be nice. It's all oceanfront. You can help yourself to all the breakfast. There are spas and pools and lazy rivers over there. And it's all, as I mentioned, it's all beachfront. Your second honeymoon will be fantastic. Here's the question. I'm going to ask both of you to write your answer down. If it's a match, you'll be winning and heading on over to your honeymoon at Best Western Ocean Sands Beach Resort. We'll start with you, Ginny. Around the house, what's something of yours that should have long been thrown away? I'm going to ask you the same question. Tom, around the house, what's something of hers that should have long been thrown away? Give that some thought. You know, I don't want to get you in too much trouble. So, Ginny, I'll ask you again. So, as you're thinking, what's something around the house that's yours that should have long been thrown away? All right. Tom is giving it some thought. Doesn't want to get himself in trouble. Looks like Ginny has her answer down. Tom's writing his answer down. All right, they've both written down their answer, and it's time for me to take both of them to the honeymoon round and see if they can make that trip on over to the Best Western Ocean Sands Beach Resort for that 3-day, 2-night getaway. Let's bring Ginny and Tom right up here. Ginny, if you'll stand right here. Tom, come stand to my left. We'll see if we can make this a match and send the two of you on over on your second or third or maybe your fourth honeymoon. We'll find out. All right, here's the question again. Are you ready? Around the house, what's something of yours that should have long been thrown away? What answer did you write down?
My pajamas.
Her pajamas should have been long thrown away. All right. Let's see if you got this right. Let's see if this is a match, Tom. What did you write down? And the answer was plants. All right, so if your pajamas look like plants, then we're good. No, I take that as a no. All right. Well, thank you both for being here with us. All right, you do have quite a few prizes. If you'll stand right over here, we want to invite Sandy and George back out here so we can tell them how much we appreciated them being part of Holy Matrimony. Stand right over here if you would, please. Thank you guys so much for being here. I want to thank you for being a part of Holy Matrimony. If you'd like to be in our studio audience and possibly a couple, it was a lot of fun, wouldn't you say? We'd love for you to join us at Comedy Cabana any and every Thursday night at 6 o'clock. It's Buzzberry saying that as long as you keep God in the middle of your relationship, it's always a match made in heaven. Ta-ta for now, everybody. Bye-bye.